Vancouver raw sewage. What are sewers? Sewers are a systematic channel of artificial conduits, mainly pipes that carries wastewater from homes and commercial buildings to treatment facilities or to some sort of disposal point. What is raw sewage? Untreated water from households and commercial buildings that contains waste from human. That is what raw sewage is. It is practically water that has been affected by human usage in any way. Canada releases 120 million cubic meters of raw sewage water into natural bodies of water annually. British Columbia makes up for a third of that number. In Vancouver and much of British Columbia, the sewage systems are combination systems. If there's a sudden maximum capacity at a treatment plant, there will be a combined sewer overflow. That's when the wastewater is released into the bodies of water without being treated first. This introduces a number of pathogens, bacteria, and other harmful microorganisms into recreational waters and potentially drinking water. This issue is bound to have a negative repercussion. Sure enough, in March 2016, there was a raw oyster virus outbreak. Oysters and mussels were contaminated, shutting down at least 2 BC oyster farms. Those who ingested them were at risk of contracting acute gastrointestinal illness like the 40 reported cases. What are the benefits of combined sewage system? Combined sewer systems collects rainwater runoff, melted snow, and wastewater all in the same pipe, which would then be transported into a treatment plant. There aren't too many benefits of having a wastewater released into the clean waters without being untreated. Upgrading to a total separate system will cost billions of dollars. In a small town in Labrador, the population is 4,000, and the separate system upgrade will cost $22 million. To replace all of Canada's sewage systems to separate systems would cost an estimated $18 billion. Once the entire country has been upgraded with this fund, only then will you meet the federal standards which were proposed in 2012. The other advantages of having a combined sewage system is that the trapped pollutants in rainwater will be treated before being released. What are the problems? Wastewater carries many pathogens, bacteria, virus, and other harmful microorganisms that will eventually have a negative impact on the ecosystem surrounding it. Wildlife, flora, and potentially humans will be affected. Combined sewer systems. Main problem is the combined sewer overflows, which causes untreated wastewater to be released in waterways. Local food sources such as fish and other animals who ingest the water could contract a potentially fatal virus. If residents were to eat these wildlife, we too could contract a disease. Drinking and recreational bodies of water could become contaminated, their source possibly a dump of the raw sewage. So what are some professional opinions on the raw sewage problem in Canada? In 2015, over 205 billion liters of raw sewage was directly transferred into various waterways. This urged the new Liberal Trudeau government to invest $2 billion in upgrading combined sewage systems countrywide. In 2012, Conservative government set regulation for the entire country. By 2020, cities must meet a federal standard and require having secondary treatment for their wastewater. If cities do not comply, they could face charges and strict fines. Green Party leader Elizabeth May mentions that the old combined sewage systems are no match for the new climate. In heavy rainfalls, which happens quite often, the wastewater is just swept downstream, contaminating our waters. Catherine McKenna, federal environment minister, says that without proper investment and monitoring, our cities will make little to no effort in improving their sewage systems. Canadians love the outdoors and the pristine water, so we all need to take our roles in keeping our waters that way. Karen Oldford, Mayor of Labrador City and Chair of Federation of Canadian Municipalities, Atlantic Region Caucus, brings up the insanely high prices. To upgrade all of Newfoundland and Labrador, a mere population of 500,000 people, would cost $500 million. No one can afford these high prices that would fix the issue. An epidemiologist with BC Centre of Disease Control Masha Taylor, tries to get her message across to many BC residents. Our waste, what we flush, ends up where we get our food. It impacts the wildlife significantly, so we need to be cautious on the issue and make sure we take action soon. So here are some statistics of the raw sewage issues. This first chart is from Environment Canada. It portrays each province's wastewater percentage in 2013, 2014, and 2015. Some years have higher numbers due to the heavier rainfall or snowmelt as a result of global warming. British Columbia makes up a third of Canada's total wastewater overflow. And this next chart shows just how far ahead in efficiency other provinces are in treating their raw sewage compared to British Columbia. It is an alarmingly high number. This last graph here is similar to the second graph, portraying 4 of Canada's provinces' wastewater overflow volume on a graph. Once again, as you can see, British Columbia has a much higher number compared to the rest of the other provinces in Canada. What are the citizens' opinions? Coastal cities along British Columbia and Vancouver Island are touch and go on the topic. Victoria has a very inefficient sewage system that is polluting the ocean a little more every day. Some residents feel like the government has been pushing aside their issue, not fully sending support. Others are not quite aware on the situation, and those who are, some choose to just ignore it. Federal and municipal governments have had disagreements on their plan of action. The federal government did supply a partial investment, but the municipal government decided the sewage update was unnecessary and too expensive. They decided to go ahead and build something else, such as roads. A lack of enforced regulations has made it difficult for municipal governments to comply with the terms and convince citizens as well. Citizens who take part on this conversation take all these points of view: a struggling federal and municipal government communication, a large expense, and if the upgrade is even necessary. They don't really know what to think quite yet. Thank you for watching my video on Vancouver and Canada's raw sewage problems. I hope that through this video you are more educated and aware of this issue and try to help make a positive difference in our community.